There are moments in life when the whisper of heaven breaks through the ordinary noise of our days. It comes not as thunder, but as a quiet realization that someone, or something, greater has fixed his gaze upon us. Imagine for a moment that a great and powerful being, far richer than any man who has walked this earth, desires you. Not your possessions, not your talents, not even your prayers alone, but you, the whole of you, your fears, your failures, your laughter, your tears, your unspoken dreams. We live in an age where value is measured by wealth, fame, and the numbers that define success. The world chases the approval of those who seem untouchable, billionaires, kings, and idols of influence. And yet, what if I told you that even the richest man alive cannot rival the wealth of the one who seeks your heart? What if I told you that Archangel Michael, heaven's great protector, speaks of a calling from beyond all human measure? A calling that says, you are chosen. To be wanted by heaven is not a compliment. It is a commissioning. It means your existence holds weight in a cosmic story unfolding far beyond your sight. There is a battle waging between light and darkness, and though you may see only the edges of it, through disappointment, betrayal, or delay, you are not merely a spectator. You are the treasure that light fights for. And the voice of Michael thunders with gentleness. You are desired, not by accident, but by design. Consider what it means to be desired by a being who lacks nothing. A billionaire on earth desires things he does not have. Companies to own, worlds to conquer, names to remember his own. But the desire of heaven is different. God and his angels do not want you because they lack. They want you because you lack. And in your emptiness, they see beauty. In your frailty, they see room for divine strength. The miracle is not that heaven loves you. It is that heaven loves you still. Many go through life believing they are replaceable. They measure themselves against the brightness of others, thinking, surely, heaven has better ones to choose. But Michael's message shatters that illusion, and only you. You are not a backup plan. You are not one among millions in a forgotten queue of souls. The fingerprints of heaven are already upon your spirit, marking you as irreplaceable in a design older than time. There is, however, a cost to being chosen. When heaven calls, the world begins to withdraw. The same voices that once celebrated you may turn silent, and the roads that once seemed open may begin to close. You will wonder if you have done something wrong. But in truth, it is heaven narrowing your path, carving your journey, so that nothing distracts you from what is meant for you. The billionaire of eternity, the Lord of all creation, is jealous for your attention. He will not share you with the illusions that keep you small. The longing of God is not a passive wish. It is pursuit. Every trial you have faced, every delay you have cursed, has been a thread in the tapestry of his desire. He does not want a perfect version of you. He wants the version that exists right now. The one tired of pretending, weary of waiting. And so, when Michael says, he wants you, and only you, it is not flattery. It is a wake-up call. It means the heavens are rearranging themselves to bring you into alignment with your destiny. You may not see the light immediately, but every shaking in your life is heaven saying, prepare yourself. Your season of being wanted has arrived. Imagine what it would mean to be wanted so deeply that the universe bends around your yes. That angels are dispatched to guard your steps, not because you are flawless, but because you are chosen. That every loss was not rejection, but redirection. And that somewhere, beyond what your eyes can see, a divine wealth, a love too vast to measure, is being spent on your behalf. For the heart that listens, This truth changes everything. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are being pursued by a love that makes billionaires look poor. And though the world may overlook you, heaven does not. Heaven never has. Heaven never will. To be divinely chosen is to awaken to the astonishing truth that your existence is not a random flicker in an indifferent universe. You were not born out of chaos or coincidence. You were willed into being. The breath that sustains you was drawn from eternity itself. When heaven calls you chosen, it is not merely a title. It is the revelation that you have always been part of a grand design, one that began before your first heartbeat and extends beyond the stars you gaze upon. You are not an accident wandering through time. You are an assignment written by the hand of the infinite. In the quiet moments when you question your worth, heaven whispers otherwise. Every scar, every disappointment, every time you thought you were forgotten, none of it escaped divine notice. You have been watched with a love that neither slumbers nor forgets. The angels themselves are aware of your name, for it is etched upon the lips of God. To be irreplaceable means that if you were missing from creation, something in the great harmony of existence would falter. The melody would be incomplete. The design would have a hollow space where your presence was meant to shine. When heaven says you are chosen, it does not speak to your achievements or your righteousness. It speaks to your potential, the unseen radiance buried beneath layers of fear, doubt, and pain. You may not feel divine, but the fact remains the divine has already claimed you. The ordinary moments of your life are not as ordinary as they seem. The conversations, the detours, the heartbreaks, all are brushstrokes in the masterpiece that heaven is painting through you. Every struggle has been permitted, not to punish, but to prepare. Many spend their lives chasing validation from a world that is itself uncertain of its worth. But when the Creator himself calls you chosen, that validation becomes meaningless. Earthly crowns tarnish, heavenly purpose endures. You are not defined by your failures, nor are you limited by your past. The divine choosing transcends your mistakes. It looks beyond what you have done and sees what you can still become. The same God who spoke galaxies into being looked upon you and said, "This one is mine." That declaration is eternal. It cannot be revoked by your shortcomings or silenced by the voices of doubt that surround you. To be chosen is not to be elevated above others. It is to be entrusted with purpose. It means that your life carries a spiritual assignment that no one else can fulfill. Others may have similar paths, but none share your exact calling. Heaven's fingerprints upon you are unique. The way you think, the way you feel, the way you love, all were shaped to express a facet of divine truth that only you can reveal. And so, while the world teaches comparison, heaven teaches completion, that every soul chosen contributes to the beauty of the whole. You are irreplaceable not because you are flawless, but because your design fits nowhere else. There is a gap in eternity that only your obedience can fill. The enemy of your soul would have you believe that you are too broken, too late, too small to matter. But that is precisely where divine strength begins, where human limitation ends. Heaven does not need perfection to work wonders. It needs willingness. And once your heart accepts that you are chosen, the ordinary becomes holy ground. The very air you breathe carries the weight of calling. There are seasons when being chosen feels like being hidden. You may feel unseen, forgotten, or left behind while others move forward. But hiddenness is not abandonment. It is cultivation. Seeds must rest in darkness before they rise. In those quiet stretches where nothing seems to move, heaven is shaping you for what cannot yet be revealed. To the untrained eye, it looks like stillness. To the divine, it is preparation. The unseen work within you is far greater than the visible achievements of others. Every chosen soul must pass through moments of refinement. Gold is not discovered shining. It must endure the fire to reveal its brilliance. So too, you will be tested, not to prove your weakness, but to uncover your strength. The trials that frighten you are heaven's way of unlocking the strength already planted within. You are not being broken, you are being built. To be chosen is to live with the awareness that heaven has need of you. Not because God is incomplete without you, but because love desires to include you in its work. The Creator delights in collaboration. The same hands that formed the mountains now wish to form your destiny. You are not called merely to exist. You were called to participate in the renewal of all things. Even when you doubt yourself, the call remains steady, patient, and persistent. It will find you in your wandering, whispering, "You are mine." Every sunrise is a reminder that your story is not over, and every breath you take is proof that heaven's choosing still stands. You are not one among many. You are one without substitute. You carry within you a divine signature that can never be replicated. The world could have billions of souls, yet none can replace the light that only you were meant to shine. God's desire for you is not a distant affection, not the polite admiration of a faraway deity who observes from the heavens and occasionally blesses. It is pursuit, relentless, intentional, personal. It moves toward you through every barrier you've built and every season you've endured. It follows you into the places you've hidden yourself, not to expose your shame, but to reclaim what darkness tried to claim. This pursuit is not born out of need, for God needs nothing. It is born out of love so vast it cannot sit still. Divine affection is never idle. It moves, it seeks, it calls your name until your heart remembers who it belongs to. There is a difference between human affection and divine pursuit. Human love often depends on worthiness. It loves what appears lovely, what rewards its effort, what promises something in return. But divine love begins where you have nothing to give. It seeks you when you have lost your voice, when your heart no longer believes it deserves to be found. God's desire is not a transaction. It is a declaration that even in your lowest state, you remain of infinite worth. It is a fire that burns through excuses, through rebellion, through despair, until all that remains is the truth. You have always been wanted. When heaven pursues, it does not chase the polished version of you. It does not wait for your perfection or your performance. It reaches for the unguarded soul that trembles beneath your defenses. You may try to outrun grace, but it moves faster than fear. You may try to reason with mercy, but it listens only to love. There is nowhere to hide from a pursuit so patient. God's desire does not weary. It does not give up when you retreat. It continues through silence, through doubt, through years of unanswered questions, whispering again and again, "I am still here." Some believe that God's pursuit is conditional, that it depends on faithfulness or obedience, yet the truth is deeper and far more humbling. The pursuit itself creates faith. The love itself births obedience. When divine love encounters a heart, it reshapes it from within. You do not come to God because you found Him. You come because He would not stop finding you. It is He who lights the path, who plants the longing, who stirs the questions that draw you near. Even your desire to seek Him is evidence that He has already sought you first. There are moments when His pursuit feels like disruption. Plans crumble, doors close, relationships shift, and you wonder why life resists your control. But these interruptions are not cruelty, they are invitations. When heaven pursues, it removes what would keep you from seeing clearly. Sometimes love must dismantle comfort to awaken purpose. The hand that takes away is the same hand that leads you to what lasts. God's pursuit may not always feel gentle, but it is always good. Divine pursuit is not just about rescue, it is about restoration. God does not simply want to save you from pain. He wants to redeem the meaning of it. Every wound you have carried becomes a doorway through which His light can enter. Every loss becomes an opportunity for His presence to fill the empty space. The pursuit of God reaches not only for your soul, but for every broken piece of your story. It is love that gathers fragments and calls them whole. You may think your running has changed His desire, but it has not. Time does not dull His pursuit. The same intensity with which He called your name at the beginning is the same with which He calls you now. His love does not mature into distance, it deepens into nearness. He waits in every prayer unspoken, in every longing you tried to suppress. You can abandon Him in your thoughts, but you cannot escape Him in your being. You are woven into His design, and what He loves, He pursues until it returns home. There is tenderness in this pursuit, but also holy jealousy. Divine love cannot share you with the illusions that destroy you. It will strip away false gods and quiet the noise of your distractions until you recognize the voice that has been calling you all along. The love that pursues you will not compete. It conquers gently, persistently, until your heart yields not out of fear but surrender. This is the mystery of divine pursuit. It wins by loving, not by forcing. Every sunrise, every unexpected kindness, every whisper of peace in the middle of chaos is a reminder that heaven's pursuit has never ceased. Even your restlessness is evidence of it. The ache you feel when life feels empty is not a sign of distance but of proximity. It is heaven pressing against your soul, reminding you that you were made for more. When God desires you, He does not settle for surface devotion. He wants communion, oneness, heart to heart. This is the love that chased prophets into deserts, that followed sinners into shadows, that stood outside tombs and called names back into life. It is not a distant admiration. It is an invasion of mercy. It will not be satisfied until every part of you that was lost is found again in His light. It is a pursuit older than time, written in your very breath, carried in the rhythm of your heart, echoing in every longing you cannot explain. When heaven chooses you, the world begins to withdraw. The very spaces that once welcomed you start to feel foreign, and the familiar voices around you grow distant. It is not because you have changed beyond recognition, but because divine purpose has marked you for something different. To be chosen is to be separated. It is not isolation born of rejection. It is the sacred pulling away of one being refined for a higher calling. When God begins His deeper work, He does not always do it in public. He leads His chosen into the wilderness, into silence, into the places where worldly distractions can no longer reach. At first, this separation feels like loss. You look around and wonder why certain friendships fade, why opportunities vanish, and why the noise of the world seems to quiet when you most crave affirmation. But heaven's silence is not absence. It is intimacy. When God removes what you depended on, He is not punishing you, He is positioning you. Every closed door is a form of divine protection. The voices that no longer echo your name are being replaced by whispers from above. Heaven does not compete with distractions, it eliminates them until your heart is still enough to hear. The chosen cannot carry both divine purpose and worldly attachment. The call of heaven demands room. When God begins to draw you nearer, He separates you from what drains your faith, from relationships that feed your insecurities, from habits that dull your sensitivity to truth. It is rarely gentle, because the soul resists what it does not understand. You will want to return to what was comfortable, but comfort is the language of complacency. Heaven speaks in movement, in transformation, in sacred discomfort that pushes you beyond the limits of the ordinary. Those who walk closely with God often walk alone for a time. It is in solitude that clarity forms, that strength grows, that identity is purified. The world thrives on noise, approval, applause, constant validation, but heaven trains its chosen in silence. When God quiets your surroundings, it is because he desires your undivided attention. You may mistake it for abandonment, but it is in fact preparation. Every chosen one must be hidden before being revealed, emptied before being filled. You are being taught to depend not on the approval of others, but on the voice that called you in the first place. Separation exposes what you truly value. It reveals whether your faith was anchored in circumstance or in conviction. When friends drift away or life no longer mirrors your expectations, your heart is stripped bare. This is where divine intimacy deepens. God removes the noise so he can speak to you directly, not through the echo of others' opinions, but through his own steady whisper. The less you hear from the world, the more you hear from heaven. To be chosen means you will no longer fit where you used to. The spaces that once felt natural begin to reject your presence because your frequency has changed. Light cannot remain comfortable among shadows. When divine purpose awakens, it disturbs the environment around you. People who once celebrated you may become uneasy, not because you have done them harm, but because spiritual growth exposes stagnation. The separation is not meant to create pride, it creates purity. Heaven removes you from the crowd not to elevate your ego, but to protect your calling. This divine separation also teaches discernment. You begin to see that not everyone who smiles with you walks with you. Not every opportunity is a blessing, and not every invitation is divine. The chosen must learn to distinguish noise from direction, popularity from purpose. God simplifies your world so you can recognize his voice when it speaks. It is a stripping away that leaves you raw but real, emptied of distraction but filled with awareness. Sometimes separation is painful because it comes disguised as betrayal. The very people you trusted may turn away. The very paths you thought were secure may crumble beneath your feet. But even betrayal has purpose in the life of the chosen. It forces your dependence to shift from human to holy. What was taken from you becomes proof that God intends to replace it with what truly aligns with destiny. Every subtraction in your life is an act of divine arithmetic. He removes what cannot walk with you into the next chapter. The world sees separation as loss, but heaven calls it consecration. You are being set apart for something the ordinary cannot contain. It is the refining fire that purifies gold, the pruning that allows branches to bear fruit. You may not understand why it hurts, but heaven sees the beauty being carved beneath the pain. The noise fades, the circle shrinks, the distractions fall away, so that the connection between you and God can grow unshakable. The chosen are never truly alone, even in solitude. Angels walk beside them unseen, and divine strength fills the spaces left empty by the world's departure. Every silent night, every unanswered question, every moment of stillness is heaven's reminder that separation is not the end. It is the beginning of transformation. God draws you away not to break you, but to build you into what you were always meant to become. Every trial is part of heaven's design to align you with destiny. Nothing that touches your life is random, and nothing permitted by heaven is without purpose. The struggles you face are not punishments but pathways, shaping your spirit into strength and obedience. When God allows a storm, it is not to destroy you but to direct you. He sees the potential within you that comfort would never awaken. Trials are the chisels that sculpt the chosen, removing the rough edges of fear, pride, and doubt until what remains reflects His image more clearly. In the beginning, every trial feels unfair. You question why your prayers seem unanswered, why doors close when you believed they would open, why people turn away just when you need them most. But unseen to you, heaven is arranging what you cannot yet understand. Trials teach trust not through explanations, but through endurance. Faith grows not in moments of ease, but in seasons of uncertainty, where you must walk by belief alone. Each difficulty is a lesson in surrender, a reminder that divine order often disguises itself as disorder before revealing its purpose. Heaven's design works through contrasts. Joy is deepened by sorrow, peace is strengthened by struggle, purpose is discovered in pain. Without hardship, the chosen would never develop discernment or humility. Every disappointment becomes a redirection, every loss a lesson in letting go. The moments you call setbacks are often sacred detours, heaven's way of steering you from paths too small for your destiny. Trials refine perspective. They shift your eyes from what is temporary to what is eternal, from what you want to what you need. You may think your life has fallen out of alignment, but often it is falling into divine order. What appears chaotic is the rearrangement of your path according to a plan older than your pain. Trials strip away illusions of control, teaching you that destiny cannot be built on self-will. It must rest on surrender. Heaven allows shaking not to destroy foundations, but to prove which ones can stand. If everything remained easy, your roots would stay shallow. The storms ensure they go deep enough to anchor you for the greatness ahead. Each trial you endure reveals another layer of your divine design. Some challenges come to expose weakness. Others come to awaken strength you did not know existed. The battles you fight in secret are often training for the influence you will hold in public. God never wastes struggle. He transforms pain into preparation, tears into testimony, waiting into wisdom. You are being shaped for places your current self could not yet sustain. Heaven will not promote you before you are ready, and readiness is often forged in the furnace of trial. When you feel pressed on every side, it is because purpose is expanding within you. The chosen are not built in comfort. They are refined in fire. Trials burn away what does not belong, making space for divine character to emerge. The fire that surrounds you is not meant to consume, but to clarify. It separates what is temporary from what is eternal. Every frustration is a spiritual tool. Every delay carries divine timing. Heaven is not punishing you, it is perfecting you. Trials also reveal who walks with you and who cannot continue. When your life begins to shift, not everyone will understand. Some will misinterpret your pain, others will withdraw from it. But heaven designs even these relational fractures as part of your alignment. Those meant to remain will stand beside you through the storm. Those meant to leave were never part of the next chapter. Trials refine not only your spirit, but your circle. They ensure that only those aligned with your purpose can continue the journey with you. The mystery of divine design is that it often feels like contradiction. The chosen ask for strength and are given challenges. They pray for patience and are given delay. They long for clarity and are led into darkness. Yet within each contradiction lies preparation. Heaven teaches through tension. The unanswered questions, the silent seasons, the confusing turns, all work together to train your heart in trust. What feels like breaking is actually birthing. In time, you begin to see that the trial was never meant to end you. It was meant to end what was holding you back. Pain has a way of awakening priorities. It reminds you of who you are and who you were never meant to be. The people, habits, and mindsets that once fit your life no longer do, because the trial has grown you beyond them. The struggle is not simply happening to you, it is happening for you. Crafting a version of yourself that is capable of carrying the destiny written for you. Every hardship becomes a holy conversation between your weakness and God's strength. Heaven uses the pressure of trial to draw you closer, to make you depend on what cannot be shaken. When everything else fails, faith becomes the anchor. And though you may not yet see it, each step through difficulty brings your soul into alignment with divine timing. What feels like delay is simply preparation catching up with promise. You are not being kept from destiny, you are being shaped to hold it without breaking. Divine love is the greatest wealth, far beyond earthly riches. No treasure of gold, no empire built by human hands, can compare to the inheritance of being loved by the eternal. The world measures success by accumulation, by what can be counted, owned, or displayed. But heaven measures it by connection, by the depth of a soul's union with its Creator. To be loved by God is to possess something that can never fade, never be stolen, never depend on circumstance. It is the only form of wealth that multiplies in loss, shines in darkness, and grows stronger when everything else falls away. The richest souls are not those with overflowing accounts, but those who have discovered the vastness of divine affection. While the world chases status and recognition, heaven whispers to the heart that knows its worth apart from such illusions. Divine love is wealth because it gives what money cannot: peace in confusion, hope in despair, meaning in suffering, and identity in obscurity. Those who rest in this love walk through storms with a strange calmness. They may have little in the eyes of men, yet they carry a quiet abundance that cannot be explained, only felt. Earthly wealth can build walls, divine love builds bridges. Riches of this world can isolate the heart, making it dependent on possession and control. But divine love frees the heart, teaching it to give without fear of loss. It transforms scarcity into sufficiency because love itself becomes the source of provision. When a soul learns to live from this love, it stops measuring worth by what it holds and starts recognizing blessing in every breath. There is a sacred mystery in realizing that divine love cannot be earned. It cannot be bought, traded, or negotiated. It comes not as a reward for perfection, but as a gift for simply existing in the mind of God. You were loved before you spoke a word, before you did anything worth celebrating. That truth alone levels the measure of human pride. It humbles kings and uplifts the forgotten. It makes the beggar and the billionaire equal before the gaze of heaven, for both are sustained by a love that has no price. Divine love is wealth because it changes the meaning of possession. When you know that heaven loves you, what you own no longer defines you, it becomes an instrument of blessing. Generosity replaces greed, gratitude replaces comparison. You begin to live as one who has everything, even when holding little. The awareness of being loved unconditionally becomes a shield against the emptiness that often hides behind abundance. Many who appear rich live impoverished in spirit because they have everything except the one thing that satisfies. Divine love fills that void. It replaces the temporary rush of achievement with the lasting contentment of belonging. Heaven's love also redefines loss. When divine affection becomes your foundation, even what is taken from you cannot impoverish you. The chosen learn that nothing truly lost in love is ever gone. It has simply changed form. Pain becomes a teacher, endings become beginnings, and even loneliness becomes a meeting place with God. Divine wealth is not the absence of suffering, but the assurance that every moment, even the painful ones, is filled with the presence of love that refuses to leave. Those who carry this awareness become unshakable. They do not depend on applause or approval to feel whole. Their stability flows from knowing that they are seen, known, and cherished by the one who crafted galaxies. This is the kind of wealth that sustains through rejection, through delay, through uncertainty. Divine love is an anchor when success fades, and a compass when direction is lost. It is the quiet strength that whispers, even in the valley, "You are still mine." This love also transforms how you see others. When you understand the worth heaven places on your soul, you begin to recognize that same worth in everyone else. Compassion becomes natural, because you no longer see people as competitors for blessing, but as reflections of the same divine affection. The rich are no longer envied, and the poor are no longer pitied. They are simply fellow travelers under the same grace. Divine wealth creates unity, for it reminds each heart that we are all loved from the same source. Earthly wealth fades with time. Divine love deepens with eternity. The treasures of this world can be lost in a day, but love from above accumulates interest in the unseen realm. It follows you beyond the grave, because it is not bound to the material. It is your true inheritance, untouched by decay or theft. Those who live from it walk in quiet abundance. Their peace cannot be bought, and their joy cannot be explained. Divine love enriches not by adding more, but by revealing that you already have enough. It transforms ordinary moments into sacred ones and replaces anxiety with assurance. Every sunrise becomes a reminder that heaven has not forgotten you, that even in stillness, you are surrounded by endless affection. The world may chase fleeting glory, but the soul that knows divine love walks in everlasting wealth, for it carries within itself the unshakable treasure of being fully known and still completely desired.